Hey everybody. So we are getting closer and closer to hockey season. We are halfway through the month of August now. And that means that it's time to start doing season previews where I look at all 31 NHL teams and really, delve into their lineup, look at what kind of team I think they're going to be and how good they could be next season. I am not doing predictions in these videos. My prediction video will come later, much closer to the start of the season, but I am going to go through all 31 teams and talk about each team individually throughout the next month and a half or so before the season starts. So normally I do these videos in some sort of order, whether it's alphabetical or reverse alphabetical or by division or whatever. But this year, with so many RFA situations still up in the air and unresolved, I'm kind of doing it a little more randomly. I'm basically doing teams that I think have their lineups pretty much in order, pretty much set first, and give more time to the other teams that don't necessarily have everything together right now. Maybe have a big RFA who's unsigned, a little more time, and I'll do them towards the end. But eventually I'm going to have to do everybody. So if we get deep into September and you still have a major RFA unsigned, I'm just going to have to do the video and decide whether I think that player gets signed before the season starts or not. But anyway, first team that I'm going to do this year are the Carolina Hurricanes. So the Carolina Hurricanes made a surprising run to the Eastern Conference Final last year before losing to the Boston Bruins. This is a team that when I look at their lineup, I feel like they're flying under even my radar. I never really realized how good this team was. But now I just put their lineup out on the whiteboard here, and I'm like, wow, this is a pretty darn good team. This is a team that absolutely should be a playoff team. So let's look at their lineup here. Now, obviously, lines change. I just put, a basic lineup together with guys slotted in positions where I think they could play. Players are going to move around the lineup. Some will move up, some will move down. These line combinations are not set in stone. These defense pairs are not set in stone. I'm just putting a basic lineup together. So don't read too much into where certain guys are slotted in the lineup. It's where I think they'll probably play or at least get a chance to play. But again, lineups move. So top line, Nino Niederreiter, Sebastian Aho, and Teuvo Teravainen. Very, very good top line there. All 20-plus goal scorers. And I think, they could be even better together all together this season. I think Sebastian Aho is going to continue to improve. He had 83 points last year. I think he can be a 90-point player. He could maybe even be a 100-point player. He's only 22 years old. Niederreiter, kind of the veteran of the group, even though he's only 26. Came in from the Wild last season. This will be his first full year in Carolina. I think he could really take strides forward in his second year with the team. And then Teravainen, another really good young goal scorer. Second line, Ryan Dzingel, who they brought in from the Columbus Blue Jackets, Jordan Staal, and Andrei Svechnikov. Again, a very good scoring second line. Dzingel had 26 goals last year. Svechnikov had 20. That's a line that is also going to provide a good amount of offense for this team. And I really like the addition of Dzingel. He really helps bring some added scoring to that team, especially with Justin Williams and his 53 points not returning. Dzingel kind of brings that back. He had 57 points last year. Third line, Erik Haula, who they brought in from the Vegas Golden Knights. Then we have Lucas Wallmark and Brock McGinn finishing out that line. Again, Haula, a nice depth addition. Not somebody who's going to put up a lot of points, but a good depth guy for your third line. Wallmark had a pretty good year last year, and then Brock McGinn, I think, was particularly good in the playoffs last year. So it's going to be interesting to see what he looks like this year. I think he could be somebody who ends up being a lot better than people expect. And then finally, the fourth line, Warren Foegele, Martin Necas, and Jordan Martinook. It's honestly really weird for me putting Warren Fogle on the fourth line given how well he played in the playoffs last year. He was an impact player for Carolina in the postseason last year, but with the additions of Haula and Dzingel, that kind of pushes him down that left side to the fourth line, unless maybe he ends up on the third line and maybe Haula plays the fourth line. We'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out. Obviously, a lot can change. But Fogle, really good player that really proved himself in the playoffs. Jordan Martinook, a savvy veteran, very good fourth liner. And then Martin Nikos, who's only 20 years old and trying to find his way in the league. Overall, I really like this forward group in Carolina. I think they can score goals. I think they have good depth. And I think that they're a pretty fun team to watch overall, which I haven't been saying about Carolina teams very much over the past 10 years. This team now is pretty fun to watch. Moving on to the defense, their defense is obviously one of the top defense cores in the league, especially down the right side. But they've got their top pair of Jacob Slavin and Dougie Hamilton. I mean, Slavin, I think, is one of the most underrated young defensemen in the league and one of the absolute best young defensemen in the league at only 25 years old. Hamilton, we know what he can do. Sure, he has issues defensively sometimes. Sometimes he's certainly a little soft sometimes. But, we know the offense that he can bring. Their second pair with I have Justin Falk and Gustav Forsling. Falk is the veteran of the group at this point, at 27 years old. He's been around a long time. And Forsling, coming in, they don't have Calvin DeHaan anymore, so Forsling's probably going to play a little bit bigger of a role, as is Hayden Fleury. Bringing me to the third pair of Brett Pesce and Hayden Fleury. I mean, this overall 1 through 6 defense core is very, very good. And then we get to the goaltending, and this is my question with the team. Really, I think their forward group is fantastic. Their defense core is one of the best in the league. It's goaltending that really makes me question how good can this team be. Can this team be a first or second place team, or are they a fourth place team? And I think a lot of it's going to come down to their goalies. Peter Mrazek is returning as the starter. He had a very good season for the Hurricanes last year. I don't know if he can do that again. Mrazek has never consistently played at that level. I don't know if he can have as good of a season as he did last year again this year. We're going to have to wait and see. And then Curtis McElhaney, who also was phenomenal for them last season, basically splitting starts with Mrazek, is no longer there. He left in free agency. They've brought in James Reimer from Florida to be the backup goaltender. I am not a big James Reimer fan. I don't think he's all that great. We'll see how he plays, but this is Mrazek's team now. Mrazek had a good year last year. He was a starter throughout the playoffs. This is Peter Mrazek's team. And it's going to come down to goaltending. Can Mrazek play at that high-end starter level? If he can, then Carolina could potentially win the division or finish top 2 in that division. If he can't, they're going to struggle, maybe even to be a wild card team if goaltending fails them. So that's my big question with the team, because when I look at this lineup, I love their forward group. I love their defense. It's goaltending that is the question. And we're just going to have to wait and see if Peter Mrazek can be a full-time starter at that level, at a high enough level to get them into, not only be a playoff team, but be a high-seeded playoff team. But overall, this is a team that is honestly a lot better than even I thought. They made the playoffs last year, and then they got really hot and went on that run after beating Washington in the first round. But, even I didn't realize until I wrote this lineup out just how good this lineup is, how much offensive talent is there, how much depth is actually there. I mean, they have a great fourth line. And then their defense is obviously incredible with Slavin, Hamilton, Falk, Pesce. Forsling and Fleury are great, bottom of your defense pair guys. And then there's scratches too, guys who don't necessarily make the lineup, but Saku Menelainen, someone who can come in. Brian Gibbons they've picked up. to be a veteran guy who could potentially come in the case of injuries. Jake Bean, they have as a young 20-year-old up-and-coming defenseman on the back end. Trevor Van Riemsdyk, he's injured. He got injured in the playoffs last year. He won't be ready to start the season. He's probably going to start the year on IR. But again, when he's healthy, he gives them 8 strong defensemen. This is a deep organization at this point, and a very talented one. So I am excited to see what Carolina can do this year. I think they're going to end up being even better than maybe I expect. This could be a very good team. I think a lot of it hinges on the goaltending. If the goaltending fails them, then they're going to struggle. But if they can get adequate goaltending out of Mrazek and Reimer and just let the rest of that lineup do their thing, I think Carolina is going to have a very strong season this year. So they're playing in a very tough division in the Metropolitan, but they are a very good team. So there is my season preview for the Carolina Hurricanes. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys.